When was the last time you spoke kindly to yourself? Not out loud, not for show, but internally, in the quiet moments when no one else could hear you. What does your inner voice sound like when you make a mistake, when you fail, when you compare yourself to someone else? Do you treat yourself with the same patience and understanding you offer others? Or do you hold yourself to harsher standards? Why is it easier to forgive others than it is to forgive yourself? Why do compliments sometimes feel uncomfortable while criticism feels familiar, even believable? Have you ever paused to ask where these thoughts about yourself came from? Are they truly yours, or were they shaped by experiences, expectations, and voices you absorbed over time? And perhaps the most important question of all, if you have learned to see yourself this way, can you learn to see yourself differently? Low self-esteem does not appear out of nowhere. It is not something people are simply born with or without. It is often built slowly, shaped by experiences, environments, and repeated messages. For many, it begins in childhood. As children, we rely heavily on external feedback to understand ourselves. The way caregivers, teachers, and peers respond to us becomes a mirror. If that mirror consistently reflects criticism, neglect, comparison, or unrealistic expectations, it can distort how we see ourselves. A child who is constantly corrected may grow into an adult who fears making mistakes. A child who is rarely acknowledged may grow into someone who feels invisible. A child who is compared to others may grow into someone who believes they are never enough. Even subtle experiences matter. You don't need extreme trauma for low self-esteem to develop. Repeated small moments, being dismissed, not feeling heard, being praised only for achievement rather than effort, can quietly shape self-perception. As we grow older, these early impressions are reinforced by society. We live in a world that thrives on comparison. Social media, advertising, and cultural standards continuously present curated versions of success, beauty, and happiness. Over time, it becomes easy to internalize the idea that you are falling short. You may begin to measure your worth by productivity. How much did I accomplish today? Or by appearance. Do I look good enough? Or by external validation. Do people approve of me? Another major factor in low self-esteem is negative self-talk. At some point, external criticism becomes internalized. The voices you once heard from others turn into your own thoughts. Imagine a student who repeatedly hears from a teacher or parent, "You should be doing better," or "This isn't your best." At first, it feels like feedback from someone else. But over time, something shifts. Later in life, even without anyone saying anything, that person might think, "I'm not smart enough. I'll probably mess this up." Even when they succeed, they may dismiss it as luck rather than ability. The external voice has become internal, and now it runs automatically, often before they even try. A person grows up hearing comments like, "You'd look better if you lost weight," or subtle comparisons like, "Why can't you look more like them?" Years later, No one needs to say it anymore. They look in the mirror and immediately think, I don't look good. I need to fix this. Even neutral moments, like getting dressed, become stressful. The mind scans for flaws automatically. What started as outside judgment becomes a constant internal commentary. A child expresses emotions or opinions and is met with responses like, "Don't be so sensitive," or "That's a stupid idea." Over time, they learn it's safer to stay quiet. As an adult, in conversations or meetings, they might think, "Don't say anything. You'll sound dumb." No one cares what you think. Even when they do have valuable input, the internalized voice shuts them down before they speak. The criticism is no longer external, but the impact is the same. The voice starts externally. It gets repeated enough times to feel true. It becomes internal and automatic. It continues, even when the original source is gone. That's why it feels so exhausting. It's like carrying someone else's judgment inside your own mind. Then there is fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being enough. These fears can lead to avoidance, avoiding risks, opportunities, or even relationships. Ironically, this avoidance reinforces low self-esteem by preventing you from experiencing growth and success. The result is a cycle. You doubt yourself leads to you hold back, leads to you miss opportunities, leads to you feel inadequate, leads to the doubt grows stronger. Low self-esteem does more than affect how you feel. It influences how you live. It shapes your decisions, your relationships, and your willingness to pursue what matters to you. You may settle for less than you deserve because you don't believe you deserve more. You may stay in environments that drain you because leaving feels too uncertain. You may silence your voice because you assume it doesn't matter. Over time, this creates a life that feels disconnected, not because you lack potential, but because you have been conditioned to underestimate it. Self-love is not just about feeling better. It is about living differently. Building self-love is not a quick fix. It is a process of unlearning and relearning. It requires consistency more than intensity, and honesty more than perfection. The first step is awareness. Start noticing your thoughts without immediately believing them. When you catch yourself thinking, "I'm not good enough," pause. Ask yourself, where did this belief come from? Is it based on evidence, or is it a learned pattern? This small shift from automatic belief to conscious observation is powerful. It creates space between you and your thoughts. Next is changing your inner dialogue. You do not need to replace every negative thought with an overly positive one. That can feel forced and unrealistic. Instead, aim for balance. If your mind says, "I always mess things up," try responding with, "I made a mistake, but that taught me how to do it better next time." This is not about denial. It is about fairness. Another essential step is practicing self-compassion. Think about how you would respond to a friend who is struggling. You would likely be patient, encouraging, and understanding. Now ask yourself, why don't I offer the same to myself? Self-compassion means allowing yourself to be human. It means recognizing that mistakes, setbacks, and imperfections are part of life, not proof of failure. Then comes building self-trust. Self-love grows when you begin to rely on yourself. This happens through small, consistent actions. Keep promises to yourself, even simple ones. Show up for your own goals. Follow through when you say you will do something. Each time you do this, you reinforce a message. I can count on myself. Boundaries are another key component. If you constantly prioritize others at your own expense, it becomes difficult to feel valued. Setting boundaries is not about pushing people away. It is about protecting your energy. This might mean saying no without over-explaining, limiting time with people who drain you, or giving yourself permission to rest without guilt. At first, this can feel uncomfortable, but over time, it builds a sense of self-respect. Finally, be patient. You cannot undo years of conditioning overnight. There will be days when old patterns resurface. This does not mean you are failing. It means you are in the process of change. What matters is that you keep returning to the practice. Final message. Self-love is not about becoming perfect, confident, or unshakable. It is about building a relationship with yourself that is rooted in respect, compassion, and honesty. You do not need to wait until you achieve more, look different, or prove something to the world to begin loving yourself. That moment will never arrive in the way you expect. Self-love starts now, in the way you speak to yourself, the way you respond to your mistakes, and the way you choose to show up for your own life. You are not fixed or defined by your past experiences. The beliefs you carry can be questioned, reshaped, and rewritten. And perhaps the most important thing to remember is this. You don't build self-love by suddenly feeling worthy. You build it by treating yourself as if you already are. Over time, that treatment becomes belief. And that belief becomes the foundation for everything else. Here are 10 powerful quotes from famous persons. Take them as advice in your journey to your new you. And never forget, you are more beautiful than you think. You are stronger than you believe. And you are more valuable than you feel. You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. Buddha. Turn your wounds into wisdom. Oprah Winfrey. A man cannot be comfortable without his own approval. Mark Twain. Remember always that you not only have the right to be an individual, you have an obligation to be one. Eleanor Roosevelt. Too many people overvalue what they are not and undervalue what they are. Malcolm S. Forbes. Never bend your head. Always hold it high. Look the world straight in the face. Helen Keller. You have been criticizing yourself for years, and it hasn't worked. Try approving of yourself and see what happens. Louise L. Hay. Love yourself unconditionally, just as you love those closest to you despite their faults. Les Brown. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Eleanor Roosevelt. It took me a long time not to judge myself through someone else's eyes. Sally Field.